Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today to learn how to supercharge your procurement operations performance with 21st century analytics. Our webinar today has three purposes: to introduce you to a recently introduced spend analytics service by E&I Consulting Group, to give you a high-level tour of Rosalind Analytics Rapid Platform, and to hear some insights from a member who has successfully used the Rapid Platform to build a world-class spend analytics program at his institution. E&I Consulting Group is very excited to announce our latest service offering, Spend Analytics, in a recent strategic partnership with Rosalind Analytics. Rosalind Analytics is E&I Consulting Group's strategic partner for spend analytics in the higher education, community college, and K-12 sectors. The partnership combines E&I Consulting Group's years of strategic sourcing knowledge and expertise with Rosalind Analytics' best-of-breed spend analytics platform. Today's speaker, there are three presenters today. Myself, Vince Patriarco, Bob Valencic, and Kevin Maloney. I'll now ask them to introduce themselves. To start things off, my name is Vince Patriarco. I'm the Executive Director of the E&I Consulting Group. I'm leading the Spend Analytics service offering for E&I Consulting Group. I have over 30 years of supply chain and analytics experience in the private sector, in higher education as the Director of Purchasing at Cornell University, and with E&I Cooperative Services. Bob, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Absolutely, Vince. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for visiting us today on this demo and this webinar. My name is Bob Valencic. I'm the Higher Education Strategic Lead, working directly with the E&I Consulting Services, and I've got about 15 years of experience in enrollment management and institutional research analytics behind me. So I'll be driving the actual demo of the application today.
Thank you, Bob. Kevin, would you introduce yourself, please?
Good morning, everyone. Kevin Maloney here, Director of Strategic Sourcing for the University of Pittsburgh. Been at Pitt for about 12 years now, and prior to coming to Pitt, I had a long career in manufacturing in all aspects of materials management. The analytic area falls within strategic sourcing that I'll be commenting on later on. Anxious to share some of our experiences with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Kevin and Bob for doing that. Now we'll begin with the rest of the presentation. So let's get started. All of us use information for our jobs on a regular basis. In our profession, truly understanding spend analytics is a key requirement, but that may mean different things to different people. As many of you know, there are many different definitions and perceptions of what spend analytics really is, which is why we want to introduce you to our approach. And in a way, that has evolved from traditional thinking from spend analytics. We take a data-driven approach. That is, data is at the heart of everything that we do. So in the coming slides, we'll overview spend analytics to get all of us on the same page. As I mentioned, our approach is different. So why is it different? What this means is that we don't think you can really do a successful spend analytics job unless you have confidence in your information being truly repeatable. At a high level, we believe that this is where many projects traditionally fall short. In order to have an information set that provides the proper attributes, you need a structured, repeatable process. The key to this methodology is ICE, and that is integrate, cleanse, and enrich. In our service, we integrate by using standardized templates to aggregate multiple disparate spend sources into one consistent structure. Then we cleanse to find and correct data errors in normalized supplier names. And finally, we enrich to associate supplier parent organization information and to classify your spend into categorized taxonomies so you can ultimately and successfully visualize and analyze your information the way you want to see it. This single source of truth means that you may then work with your procurement spend data with the purpose of reducing procurement costs, improving efficiencies, and ensuring compliance. All that sounds great, but what's it really mean for you? It means that together, E&I Consulting Group and Roslyn Analytics brings the deep expertise of decades of spend experience and a robust and affordable solution to drive ROI so institutions get the best of both worlds and have the best team to drive value from your spend analytics. We empower you with timely, relevant, and actionable spend information you need with the combination of an advanced cloud-based spend analytics big data platform and management and support throughout the process, from beginning to end and beyond. We work in the trenches so you don't have to. And what you get for that is E&I Consulting Group will provide you with project management and support. We do all the work up front, meaning you have clean, actionable data early in the engagement, typically 6 to 8 weeks, with only a very small requirement of your staff's time. You get full use of the platform with your information for reporting capabilities and dashboarding, with unlimited refreshes for the duration of your commitment. We'll offer a low-cost, flat fee with a variable term up to 5 years, where discounts deepen as the term increases. We come back in each year to refresh your data set for you. We train your staff to understand how to use the Rapid tool, so your information, both upfront and ongoing throughout the contract term, ensures you and your team are getting the maximum value. On the technology side, the Rapid platform is a state-of-the-art solution for the entire spend data lifecycle. It is SaaS-based with no capital investment in hardware, software, or infrastructure required. It offers accelerated implementation timescales and faster time to benefit. It supports line item detail analysis and reporting. It is flexible and interactive with on-the-fly data maintenance. It allows automated and intuitive self-service data refreshes at any interval you choose. It also allows a very fast time to ROI, and the value of that ROI that you can get on your investment can be huge. You can be up and running with actionable data in as little as 6 to 8 weeks and achieve an ROI of your investment in as little as 12 weeks. Once implemented, the opportunities are endless. There are many ways in which you can achieve a roadmap to success in savings delivery. We've outlined some of them above. I'm not going to go in and review each one of these now, but you can see there are many ways that spend analytics information can be used to deliver value to your organization. When used properly on a large scale, spend analytics helps everyone within the institution make the best and most informed decisions. Again and again, what kinds of things you can achieve are strategic sourcing insight, identified contracting and savings opportunities, detailed spend understanding, the who, the what, the when, and the where, key cost containment areas, process efficiencies, compliance monitoring, consistent metrics and KPIs, and having one constant data source. With that being said, I'd like to pass you over to Bob, who will give you a demonstration on how you can achieve benefits mentioned from the comprehensive spend analytics solution. Bob?
Thanks, Vince. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking time to sit on an application, and for Vince for setting up an idea or an overview of the program in general. What I'm going to do right now is give you an overview of a couple of deliverables. Once E&I Consulting has taken your data, cleansed it, enriched it, categorized it, we turn that into a couple of applications and deliverables strictly for you. For example, you can see right now that I've logged into my cloud-based rapid platform where my applications are hosted. And I'm going to show you a couple of different applications today. One of them is the dashboard of your data to get a visualization type view or business intelligence type view of your spend data. I'll also go into the spend by application, which gives you a tabular or data mining type of view of your data so that you can slice and dice, drill into, drill around your data. And then I'll briefly touch on what's called the tagging audit trail. We have some very innovative ways for you to reclassify your data, and in doing so we provide a full audit trail and workflow approvals for any of the changes that are made within the application. So let me go to my dashboard very quickly here, and as you take a look and get a little acclimated to what's on the screen here, let me just give you an overview sort of navigationally of what you're looking at. We've got some totals here, your total spend, the number of invoices, percent of categorization, and number of active suppliers. Again, this is a very high-level overview, KPI and dashboard type view of when you first go into the application. In addition, we give you a couple of key performance indicators over on the right here. These are some common examples, but these are also configurable, customizable to your specific needs. So all these are examples. We'll certainly work with you to pull out the best ones that you see fit. As Vince mentioned, we also work with different kinds of categories. For example, E&I has their own classification system, but today we'll be using the UNSPSC taxonomy. We're very flexible. Again, as Vincent mentioned, we're flexible on the types of taxonomies that you might use. If you have something custom, that's fine. We'll work with you to figure that out. As we look around a little bit more, I've got a heat map of my spend, in this case throughout the United States. And usually on any page you'll see a graph or visual at the top and then some tabular information or supplemental information on the bottom. And you can do a number of things throughout the application that are fairly collaborative. For example, I can print out any screens or any information. I can also send any of this information to Excel for offline analysis of some sort. Up at the very top here, I've got what's called share a session. So I can share the information I'm looking at with another person so that I can collaborate with them and activities or next steps, just simply to discuss the data that you might be concerned about. And then of course we're always able to adjust your date ranges. In this case I have it set for fiscal year of 2014, but the date ranges can be edited here as well for the length of the data and history of the data that you have. So just giving you a quick overview of this dashboard page, where I'm going to move through a couple of other tabs here. The spend tab, where you can look at your spend by different categories or dimensions. Reports that come from the supplier side information, we'll take a look at that as well. And we'll also touch on the report builder. So let's take a look at the spend tab here. As I click into this, again, it goes into a general overview page, and right off the bat I'm looking at my top 20 spend by supplier. And while we're here, you can see on the far left-hand side there are a number of dimensions that I can turn this data around on. For example, if I wanted to look at my top 20 spend by campus, I can also do that as well. And as I had mentioned, you can see there's a graph here at the top and some tabular type data on the bottom. You'll see the same thing throughout many of the reports that we pull up along the way. I can get much more specific, of course, within this spend tab. I can go to my hierarchies sub-tab, and this is where I can choose to look at information by spend by category, essentially. So as you can see here, I've got a nice pie chart of my spend by category. I've also got down below a tabular or detailed view of my spend by level. And navigation-wise, I can click into any of these pie slices and it'll take me to the next level. Or I can click on the chart below as well, and that'll do the same thing. So very interactive or intuitive in that sense. Anytime I want to click out of this, I can simply use an up arrow here to back out. I've also got a breadcrumb trail of where I'm at within all of my data right here. So really what I'm doing is kind of visually querying my data set so I can get to the exact type of information I want. Along the way, no matter what I click on, I can always save certain views as bookmarks, so I can come to them again and again, and I can share those with other people as well. If it's some information particularly useful for a strategic sourcing event, then you might want to get a group of people in there in your team to take a look at this all at once. Additionally, I've got a trend report, and the trend, I won't go through all of these tabs, but just an overview of some of them. The trend report, of course, displays trend of values and volumes over time within a calendar or fiscal format. I've also got comparative analysis, where you can see and compare summary statistics and spend data for 2 calendar or fiscal years, where you can compare them, of course. In addition, I've got this feature called Geography by Dimension, which is kind of a neat way to look at your dimensions on the right here. For example, right now I'm looking at my suppliers on a map as I had seen before, but I can also look perhaps at my campuses or departments. And this will also give you, all of your data within a map. If I wanted to look at Campus B, perhaps on the very bottom here, it'll pull that information up and get a little more specific for me. Also, I can pick or choose any state, perhaps, and it'll drive that drive the information down into the graph. And any subsequent details down below. Underlying all this information, for instance, invoices or purchase order information will all be filtered along the way. So I can get very granular with this business intelligence application here. In addition, we've got a Pareto chart. Let me clear out of a couple of my selections here just to make sure I'm in the right place. I've got a Pareto chart, and let's say I wanted to take a look at the 80-20 rule of spend within certain dimensions. Right now I'm looking at my Pareto chart of my spend within by campus. This could be department as well. Whatever dimensions that you choose will certainly work with you to pick the right dimensions for your needs, but these are just some examples for demonstration purposes. So here we have a Pareto chart of our campuses, and you can see here that the top, looks like the top 8 or 9 campuses make up 80% of my spend. And again, I can drill into any one of these bars or down below to get more detailed information. Moving forward, say you want to find a specific way to find high volume or low value transactions. A good way to look at that is to look at the transaction summary here. Now, as we look at the transaction summary, I can look at, in this case, we're looking at invoice banding. And I'm going to switch my dimension over here. Right now I'm still on the campus view, but I'm going to switch to suppliers because those are that's the view that I want to look at. And so what we have here is some banding information of our invoices. I've got a sister application for banding of transactions as POs as well. So this section here is for invoices, and we've got a PO transaction summary as well to match that. For example, I can see how many of my invoices, in this case, are between a $1 and $1,000 range. It's quite a few of them in this particular case. 78% of my invoices fall in this range. It accounts for only 5% of my spend. And then ultimately, you can see over here the average value of each invoice is $227. Again, this is a good way to achieve some savings by reducing your high volume, low value transactions, by moving to consolidating invoices perhaps, or moving things to P-cards or supplier consolidation. Whatever your strategic motives are, you can do that by analyzing this data here. In addition, we do, if we want to take a look at the PO transaction summary, some similar data here, where you can do some supplier normalization, consolidation based, or perhaps transaction consolidation based on this data. And finally, we've got what's called missed opportunities. Now, on the missed opportunities tab, this is kind of a what-if scenario. I can essentially set a breakpoint for looking for invoices, or looking at the amount of invoices that might be between a certain or under a certain range. For example, right now I've got this set at to look at any invoices that are $100 or less. But if my my internal needs dictate that I want to find invoices on $250 or less, I can do that as well, simply by typing in the amount that the breakpoint that I want to set, or by using the slider. And as you can see, there are a number of companies that come up that has particularly a higher number of transactions under the $250 range. Again, this is another way to reduce high volume, low value transactions, and also potentially identify missed opportunities where spend is continually being processed as an invoice perhaps, and not using a P-card method. Again, a good way to critically look at your data in order to make some changes. Additionally, we've got another tab up here at the very top, the supplier tab. Now let's say that I'm worried that I might have too many suppliers for one or multiple product groups, and this is a good way to figure that out, specifically through our supplier density report. So as I click on the supplier density report, this report is actually very interactive as well. For example, as this renders here, there we go. I've got a couple of things I can do. I can look at my number of top suppliers. For example, if I wanted to look at the top 4 suppliers in my group, I can do that. I happen to like to want to look at my top 5 suppliers, so let me go ahead and change that to my top 5 suppliers. And then on the right, I can use a slider to dictate how large I want my tail spend to be viewed within this particular graph. So I'm looking at my top suppliers, I'm looking at my tail spend, and then I've also got an aggregate number of the number of vendors within each category. So here I'm looking at musical instruments. A very, very low percent of spend goes to my top 5 suppliers. It's just under 5%. Vast majority of my spend goes to the other, almost 1,940 vendors. This might be an area for consolidating my vendors within this group. And again, I can adjust this. As Vince mentioned earlier today, everything's flexible. Everything is kind of specific to what you and your approach might be. From there, I can look at another tab. There are a couple of the categories, but I'm going to look at my supplier payment analysis real quick here. And let me enlarge this just a little bit. Now, what we're looking at here is this information here displays supplier payment terms. For example, here are agreed payment terms, the average payment days. So we're looking at accounts payable information, average payment days, spend, your spend percentages with each vendor as well. And just right here, you can see there's some little indicators, green and a couple of red ones. And these are indicating whether these are fall below or beyond your 30-day payment terms with certain companies. A good way to get a hold of your cash flow and perhaps dig a little deeper as to why something might be being paid early or late. So another good, very valuable tool that you can use to look at your information very quickly. So let me, let's see here. Let me make that screen just a little bit smaller. And then finally, we also have an inactive suppliers tab right here at the very far right. And this is where you can go to look at your suppliers that you haven't issued an invoice to in quite some time. If you select an end date here, you can go directly to that report. We also have information, detailed information on invoice and purchase orders, but I'm going to go into those applications or that detail in my sister application in just a moment. But let's take a quick look at the report builder while we're here. So in the report builder, if there isn't a view or a way that you're looking at the information that you like that we've already given you, now mind you, I've only gone through a few of these, but there are a lot of different ways to turn the data on to get the view you want within the application. If something happens to stick out that you don't see and you want to build your own report, you can absolutely do that. Perhaps you want to look at your campus by spend. It'll build out that table right readily for you. Perhaps I want to throw in there percent of suppliers as well. From here, I can do a number of very quick things. I can turn this into a pivot table and move my columns and rows in different areas to be very specific. Or I can look at, it can build a quick pie chart or block chart for me as well. So there's the block chart, I'm sorry, the pie chart. I can use my fast change feature here to go to a block chart. Again, everything is rendering very quickly, very responsive to anything that I'm doing here. So this is the high-level overview of the actual dashboard. And now I'm going to switch over to my sister application, which is the Spend By application here. So as you can see, I'm here on my Rapid platform, and everything is icon-based, very easy to see and easy to navigate. So let's go into my Spend By. Now you can put 3 dots after that. Oh, hey, security is always good. So let me log in here again real quick. And let's see, might be covering up a little bit by my GoToMeeting control bar on the far right, but hopefully you can see all the tabs and columns in this report. So in my Spend By application, Spend By what is the question? And I can turn this report, I can to look at Spend By any dimension that I have. Right now, I just happen to be defaulting to my spend by fiscal year 2012, 2013 with all my values. I can also look at my Spend By campus, perhaps. Again, the values, number of invoices, number of suppliers, number of POs are readily available here for you. Or I can look at, which is always a favorite, is your categorization tree. So here we have our UNSPSC categorization, all of our spend and related information on the right, and everything is clickable here. If you want to call this a hyper report module, the ability to drill down, drill around, drill into a lot of this information can be done here. For example, if I want to look at all my spend within building and construction, I can definitely do that. Everything subtotals or segregates to that specific category on the right. And from here, I can really do a lot of other things now. I can highlight this and drill around a bit. Look at all the related information. I can go to my related information specifically for machinery and equipment, and I can, let's say, quickly pick up who the suppliers are. So I can quickly go into who my suppliers are just for that category. And this is great for your end users, your analysts, your commodity managers. No matter how deep or how they might spin this data into their view, what you can always do is save these. So I can save this particular query. We'll call this Bob's report. And there are a couple of ways you can save it into the repository of a file folder up here on the far right. Or what I'm actually going to do is create a new application for this. So let me click into this. I'm going to, and this is kind of a quick way for everyone, for your end users, to get to the same information very readily. Many people have, many end users or analysts have 20 or 30 of these little applications built out, so they can go directly to the needed information that they like to see every day. So I'm going to select a very obvious icon here, and I'm going to save my application. And what I can do now is simply go back to my my Rapid home page, and let me refresh this real quick, and you'll see it pop up here. And you can see right here, here's report number 3 from me, and I can simply click into that as a speed report on any given day, and it takes me right directly back to that specific report I was looking at. So let me close out of this real quick and go back to my my categorization structure. Another way, so I just showed you how to drill around heavy construction machinery information. I can actually drill directly into that and go way down to the line item level. So now in this, in the spend analytics world, the line item level over POs and invoices are the kind of the center of the universe, if you will. Now let me scroll out of here just a little bit to give you a larger view. And you can see from here that at the very top, these are all the data sources that E&I has worked with you to get from your systems and into a template. You can see there's quite a few of them. There's actually even more. Another way to look at this information is to go to your options tab at the far right here. And I could click any of these dimensions, highlight them, and specific ones if there's specific ways I want to turn this data around to look at specific data points. I can do that very quickly. And I can look at all of them if I'd like. So again, some very fast and intuitive ways to look at your data. One of the most unique features that we have within here is the ability to classify or retag your data on the fly. So let me go back to my report here, and I'm going to go to the very end. I'm going to go pick something that has no category. Now, of course, every once in a while in your data, you'll have things that simply aren't categorized. And in many other systems, you might have to reach out to the vendor, to your consultants to have that changed. It might take a few dollars, might take some time to get that done. We give you the ability to do that on the fly. So if I go into my uncategorized bucket here, I'm simply going to recategorize something. I've got my analyst hat on. I think, as I'm looking through all my uncategorized line items, purchase orders, and invoices, I can simply select one of these because I know, if I know from my own subject matter expertise that it belongs in another category, I can simply highlight that, assign a tag to it. In this case, it's going to be a UNSPSC category. And let's say I want to put this into construction. And I can search on that. And let's say it's building construction, heavy construction machinery just happens to be the right fit for this particular line item. I can say OK. And what it's going to do is send a query or send a request to my administrator saying that I'd like to recategorize this to machinery and construction. Very simple there. And when I select OK, it says my request to tag this information has been submitted successfully. So let me jump out of here real quick and show you where this goes. We don't want anybody, willy-nilly changing categories within our data. So there are gatekeepers within all this information. So I'm going to go to my tagging audit trail, and you'll see at the very top left-hand corner, here's the category that I just requested to have changed. Now I've got my administrator or supervisor type hat on, and I have the choice of approving this or rejecting this business rule. So the amazing part about this is that I'm not a programmer by any means, but what I've done is created a business query where where this line item will be categorized to the right category, but also any subsequent information that comes in that looks just like this will also be categorized into this new category, and that's machine learning. I've programmed a machine learning application. You might also call this human-driven machine learning. It's a very powerful tool that we've capitalized on for your benefit here so that you're able to take control of your data and manage it on a more personal basis, because of course everyone's unique in how they're looking at their data. So from here, this pretty much wraps up my overall overview of the dashboard of the spend by application, and Vince has given you an overview of our partnership together. But now let me turn this over to our next presenter, which is Kevin Maloney, and he's going to discuss how they're using the applications at the University of Pittsburgh over the last couple of years. So thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Kevin Maloney here. I'm happy to join you all today to briefly share some of our experience here at Pitt with Rosalind's analytical tool. Before that, let me take a few moments and tell you a little bit about the University of Pittsburgh. We are a large, research-based university. Our main campus, which houses about 80% of our students, is located in Oakland, about 3.5 miles from downtown Pittsburgh. Our 4 regional campuses are within a 150-mile radius of Pittsburgh. We are a decentralized purchasing operation, and we are close to moving all of our goods and service purchasing through the SyQuest platform. By design, we have a very limited use of our P card for purchases. By the way, that tall building you're looking at there, that's called the Cathedral of Learning. It's the tallest building on any campus in the Western Hemisphere. Our offices are located on the 33rd floor of this 40-story building, making for some spectacular views of the campus and the city. If you're ever interested or in the Pittsburgh area, please stop by and see us. So next, moving on, Pitt's relationship with Rosalind. You know, we were the first U.S. customer for Rosalind in the higher ed market. So back then we conducted our reference calls actually to folks in the UK. We had 2 calls with universities and another with a law firm that was using the Rosalind analytic tools. All those calls pointed toward satisfaction with Rosalind and that they were very easy to work with. And now here it is 3+ years later, and we can tell you all that we agree with those comments. We did consider our options leading up to the initial contract expiration, and we decided to renew for another 3 years. You know, it's now easy to make the statement about having 7 years of our spend classified, but it did take us many hours to accomplish that with people at Rosalind and here at Pitt. I can say that in our case, you know, to tell you that don't underestimate the time it takes to properly set up the data exchange, make sure it's working properly, and that the return data makes sense. Certainly this is one of those exercises where the devil's in the details. However, you know, with the services being offered now with the Rosalind and E&I Consulting Services arrangement, that should ease the burden to a lot of you if you decide to participate. Speaking of those details, about 95% of our spend is classified at the line item level, and it took us a while to get there. Now we are in the maintenance mode of keeping up with our unclassified spend that appears in our monthly refreshes. And lastly, I wanted to point out that we did do an RFP back before we selected Rosalind. We started out looking at 10 solutions, narrowed it down to 3, and finally awarded it to Rosalind. Next, so why did we choose Rosalind Spend Analytics application? You know, we were shocked by some of the pricing that delivered far less than Rosalind did. Rosalind clearly was the best value for us. After we heard each provider's timeline for implementation, we felt that Rosalind would be the best outcome for Pitt. During the first year, we started out with refreshes on a quarterly basis. Then into the second year, we switched over to monthly refreshes without skipping a beat. We had a requirement to add into our system 3 historic years of spend so that we could start out looking at trends without having to wait to see the trends develop. This was one of the deciding things in favor of Roslyn. Their competitors could either not provide that much history, or their pricing to accomplish this made them uncompetitive with Roslyn. You know, you saw from what Bob did in the demo that I'll just characterize the ease of use there, and that, by the way, that applies to all roles, the power users, the regular users, and the administrator role. Another major factor for our decision to go with Roslyn was the number of licenses granted. Roslyn had a decided advantage on this. Next, so how are we using Roslyn today and in the future? We use it as our primary source of spend by information, by supplier, by department, by responsibility center, by buyer, etc. We have a regular practice in place to distribute the unclassified spend to the procurement specialist that is assigned to the related commodity or service. Our thinking is that they are the closest to the charge on the invoice record and can classify the spend correctly, thus tagging the item as Bob showed you in the example. The tagged items are sent to our analyst as a quality check to review and approve. If our analyst disapproves, she gets with the procurement specialist to discuss and agree on a classification before the tagged items are updated in the system. Reports can be pulled from the very specific to the very general, and they're easy to produce. You saw that in the report writer demo Bob just gave you. Roslyn is now the foundational data source for all of our strategic sourcing events. We have used Roslyn data for all sourcing events, including computers, IT peripherals, industrial gases, and scientific supplies. The savings from these sourcing events and future ones generate the savings to support a strong return on investment we made in Roslyn. Additionally, we commissioned a homegrown spend analytics system. Perhaps you all have something similar to that. And the cost to maintain that, which is now gone, is also a contributor to our ROI. We can query against one dimension or multiple dimensions within the tool, and it's very easy to do that. And also you can export very easily, if you choose to, anything into an Excel file for further manipulation. In terms of the future, we have a project underway with Roslyn currently to create a graphical depiction of a number of metrics that we have developed, and we expect this will be completed in the next couple of months. And finally, some advice, some lessons learned here. We encourage you to involve all your folks from purchasing and your IT areas in this exercise. Regarding reporting, carefully identify all the data fields intended in the report. This will save you time and rework. And also in terms of your refresh validation process, create a QA procedure to make sure that once you receive data back in a refresh mode, that is validated before you release it to everyone. And in terms of unclassified spend for tagging, who is going to do what and when should it be done? Who will do the evaluating of the unclassified items, and who will do the QA checks and provide the necessary updates. In summary, I'm just going to tell you that we here at Pitt are very happy with the Roslyn solution. The more I hear about, however, the relationship that E&I has formed with Roslyn, the better it sounds. I wish that kind of relationship existed when we were researching spend analytic options. It didn't back then. I would say we would have had to have opted to participate. It looks like it will reduce a lot of the effort and accelerate the benefits you can achieve. Now I'm going to turn it back to Vince for some Q&A.
Thanks very much, Kevin. Appreciate your insights into that, and it's always great to hear someone who has really done it and done it to an extraordinary level. And just hats off to your folks and your team at Pitt for doing a wonderful job with this aspect. So Actually, I'm going to turn it back to Erin, and she's been collecting the questions, and she will then pose them forward. Please, if you do have questions, please send them in, and we'd be happy to answer those for you.
Yep, so kicking off the question and answer portion. The question I think maybe for you, Bob, to start with, what kind of skills are needed to use the applications that you went through?
Yeah, that's a great great question. And Kevin, actually all of us can probably speak to that as well, since Kevin uses it on a regular basis in his team. The skill set to actually use the application is very, very limited. I mean, like I mentioned, I'm familiar with the product, but I didn't do any coding, even with some of the advanced things I was doing, particularly with query building or tagging things. It's very point-and-click, user-friendly, intuitive that way. So as far as an actual technical skill set, it's very low. It's very low. It's a very easy application to use.
Perfect. Another question we've got in, does the data incorporate purchasing card transactions?
This is Vince. Yes, it will. As I mentioned before, and as I think Bob showed, there are varied sets of data that do become part of this one holistic view. So we like to see the invoicing data, because that typically has as close and as rich an information set as there is. Your procurement card data, if you have any travel systems that have information in it, all of those sets are built into one template with all those attributes in it, and then the dimensions that you select help put those in proper order. So P-card data sometimes has a little less information in it, but there's still some good ways to categorize that information and to get that information into a set of actionable items.
Yeah, Vince, just to tag on a little bit more information about data sets or data sources specifically. Quite often we have clients that use their data source as a dimension, which is a great way to kind of do some QA or quality control on the data that's coming in. Quite often you can sort by sort in the application by your data source, see what's missing in your information, and then use that knowledge to go back upstream in your processes and perhaps start backfilling in that information into your ERP systems or wherever it may be. Or if you're just plain missing that information, for example, let's say you have diversity codes, and some of your suppliers have a diversity code applied to them, some don't. We give you the ability to actually go in and tag those with a diversity code as well. So there's a couple different ways that your data sources can come into play in the overall use of your procurement initiatives.
That's great. And just, I think it ties quite nicely with how you wrapped up that question, and something we've had asked from a few people is how does the data get into the system? How do you import, whether it's your invoice, purchase order data, whatever, how do you get that into the system, and how often can you update it?
We do, E&I does offer a general data template. And Vince will go into this a little bit more, I'm sure. There is a template that we use to get the data into a specific format, but if there are other data sources and data points as well that you want to incorporate above and beyond that, we definitely take that information in as well. Diversity would be one of those examples. Vince?
Thanks, Bob. Yeah, great point. And as Kevin mentioned on a couple of his points, one of the key areas is working. What we would do is to work with you to establish all of those important data elements. So we'll work with you on your information sets to provide you with that template to be able to get that data into the tool. Once it's in the tool, then it goes through the the processes that we would use, and the output, the reporting, the dashboarding is there. And that is an interactive process with you. So there isn't one template that fits for everybody. We'll work with you associated with what your specific systems are generating, and also the type of information and what you want to try to do with that information. So that's a big aspect of what we have as an offering.
That's great. Kevin, I think we've got one that it would be great to get your feedback on initially. Is there a certain taxonomy schema that you'd recommend from your sort of years of experience?
Are you referring to taxonomy?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, Aaron, we chose, we did look at several taxonomies, and as you heard Bob mention, Rosalind is flexible enough to settle in on anything you would like to use, whether it's homegrown or anything that's commercially available. We looked at multiple taxonomies and spent time evaluating that, and felt like the UNSPSC was, you know, looking down the road 5, 10, 15, 20 years, looks like they had a stronghold in categorizing things worldwide. So no matter where we have suppliers that ship from overseas, and it looked like that was the best taxonomy for us. So that's why we selected the UNSPSC.
I think an important element to think about in that is the UN codes are great codes to use. They're very detailed. Many organizations may have their own codes. And if that would be the case, those will be incorporated into, again, how you would like to see your information. So we would map those codes so you'd have the ability to go back and forth between different taxonomies.
Okay, great. Thanks for your feedback, everyone. One question maybe for Bob to kick off on. How do you share the information with others, either within the Rapid platform? Is it through Excel or a PDF?
Yeah. There are a number of data sharing or collaboration type features within there. Of course, you can print off any screen or a graph that you had seen. Save things to Excel is another way. And that's for both applications, the dashboard and the report builder, the spend by application I'd gone through as well. And then there's also the share a session feature where you can send a link out to a colleague. They can click on it and come right in without having a license for the platform. They can share a session with somebody, click around and navigate through the dashboard as well. In addition, there are places you can add notes. For example, your tribal knowledge, your subject matter expertise is really important, and as people are changing things or reviewing a particular report of some way, they can add notes of what they're thinking about doing about a particular strategic sourcing event or description of the data that they're looking at. So there are a lot of ways that you can add metadata, if you will, within the application, so everybody could share it in that sense.
That's great. We're running out of time, so we've got one last question. I do thank everyone for submitting their questions, and we will follow up with you after the webinar if there's any questions that we weren't able to get around to. This question, I think it'd be good to get everyone's input on. In your opinion, what's the most critical information to collect? Let's kick off with Vince on that one.
I think the base element of information probably comes from your ERP system, well thought out and well detailed with the information coming from that system. It typically is closest as you get to the payment cycle. So it's typically a little richer with the volume that you get and the breadth of the information you get. So that's typically the best side of that, and that typically picks up both PO and non-PO information, which is also why it's good. So I think that's probably the most fundamental element.
Yeah, and I would add that additional critical information, because every school is just slightly unique, of course. Whatever those data points that you want to add that will make you successful for the specific things you want to accomplish, absolutely we encourage those other perhaps diversity information or any kind of unique data that you've collected in-house to add to get to the answers that you want as soon as possible. That's really good information and data to collect as well.
And I'll add from Pitt's view, our approach to this was to put as much data in. There's a very enriched template of data that Rosalind provides for. And our view was to get as much data into the system coming from all of our payment streams and PO streams that we could get over there, knowing that this was our foundational document of data. So that's what we did, and Rosalind will tell you that we at Pitt here apparently have more dimensions defined than any of their other customers. So I'm not sure. From our perspective, that's good. Sometimes we hear that from Rosalind's perspective that isn't so good. But put as much data as you can in, was our view, and we did that.
All right, that's great. Thanks a lot, everybody. In closing, if you have any questions that you think of after the webinar, please do get in touch. Vince, is there anything you'd like to say in closing?
Yeah, just a couple of things, Erin. First of all, thanks to Bob and to Kevin to participate in this, and hopefully their actions in this were valuable to you. And we'd just like to thank you for joining us today. We hope that this session was helpful. We welcome the opportunity to talk to you more in detail about the service or answer any other questions you may have. My contact information is now up on the screen. Please feel free to contact me. As Erin said, if there are any questions that weren't answered, we will certainly get an answer back to you. So thanks again, and appreciate you taking the time out to be with us today.